Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into a deeply personal yet absolutely universal theme: how we are shaped by the hands, hearts, and voices of the mentors all around us. You see, no one walks the path alone. Even the most fiercely independent soul among us is, at the end of the day, an apprentice of life. We're going to explore a beautiful text called Mentors, the Hands That Shaped My Journey, to see exactly how these guides show up for us. Sometimes it's in a classroom, sometimes out on the ocean, and sometimes through connections that somehow manage to span across entire decades.
So the crucial point is captured beautifully by a quote from Zoran's Whisper. "Traveler, mentors are the constellation of your youth, each one a star, each one a guide, each one a whisper of destiny." I really want you to let that sink in for a second. Our mentors form this beautiful constellation that illuminates our path. They don't just stand up there and teach us dry facts and figures. They provide the actual light we need to navigate our lives, whispering directions and offering guidance when we need it the absolute most.
Stars in the classroom, the foundational guides. Very often, this kind of profound, life-altering guidance begins in the most familiar of places, with those rare teachers who absolutely refuse to just be ordinary.
Take Mrs. Joan Condon, for example. She was an English teacher with this absolute sparkle for life. Picture this. One day, a student decides to play Jimi Hendrix's All Along the Watchtower on a record player right in the middle of class. Now, instead of shutting it down, demanding quiet, and going straight back to the textbook, Mrs. Condon leaned in. She actually led a deep, thoughtful discussion on those rock lyrics. And this brilliantly illustrates her core lesson, that words are alive. She showed her students that art is a doorway, and that interpretation is a true form of freedom. She didn't just teach English, she taught them how to feel the raw spark of life within language itself. Then there was Mrs. Betty Topalan, a senior-year poetry teacher who acted like a literal pearl diver of words. The author recalls reading this complex spiritual poem aloud in her class. When she asked what it meant, the author, having absolutely no clue, just bluffed and said it was self-explanatory. Well, Mrs. Topalan knew, but instead of punishing or pushing him, she just smiled this knowing smile. Her gentle presence taught a massive lesson. Dive deeper. She encouraged her students to look way beyond the surface level of things and really explore the creative force hiding inside language. She helped them discover the pearls.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how a legendary speech teacher at Newport Harbor High School, Mr. Bob Wentz, perfectly captured this idea thinking outside the box. He was the very definition of unconventional. When the author and a friend, Nick, asked if they could give their speech on surfing out at the beach, Mr. Wentz didn't just say yes to indulge them. He literally arranged a bus and took the entire class out to Newport Pier for a live surfing demonstration and a talk on the ocean. He showed them in real time that life expands exponentially when you're willing to think outside the box.
And we definitely can't forget Julia Smart, a culinary arts teacher who totally flipped the script on food and life with one simple truth: follow the recipe, and you can make anything. That single brilliant idea sparked a lifelong joy, opening up a whole new world of ethnic foods, spices, and creativity, which the author shared with a friend and cooking partner named Scott Adams. What Julia really taught was that structure creates freedom. A recipe isn't some rigid restriction, it's just a map. And once you know how to read the map, it becomes a doorway to culture, connection, and endless creativity.
The unexpected guides encounters beyond the classroom, because as we step out of our childhoods, we quickly realize that mentors aren't just found sitting behind chalkboards. They appear in sudden, spontaneous, and sometimes life-altering moments out in the wild world. Take a random day out at Huntington Pier, for instance. The author spotted Mr. Hemsley, who happened to be a surfer and a teacher, swimming towards shore on a really rough day, looking completely exhausted. The author casually paddled over on a longboard, asked if he needed help, and just slowly paddled him back to the safety of the shore. Honestly, it seemed like no big deal at the time. The author just paddled right back out to the waves. But 6 months later, Mr. Hemsley bumped into the author's mother and delivered a stunning message: "Your son saved my life." It's such a powerful realization. An act of kindness is never small, and you never truly know the magnitude of your everyday actions. And you know what? Mentors don't even have to be human. Consider this absolutely incredible encounter out near Big Corona. The author was on a boat with friends and family when suddenly thousands of bubbles surged right beneath them. The ocean itself seemed to rise, and a massive whale surfaced just 10 feet away, looking the author right in the eye. That whale possessed supreme physical power. It could have easily destroyed that boat in a split second, but its actual behavior was one of wisdom, gentleness, and supreme intelligence. That eye contact, remembered vividly 46 years later, delivered a profound lesson. Power without cruelty is true strength.
We have so much to learn from the gentleness of the natural world.
Destiny and synchronicity, the lifelong bonds. Sometimes the guidance we receive isn't just about a single fleeting moment of impact. It's about deep, enduring connections that weave through the decades, seemingly orchestrated by fate itself.
Let's move to and see how this builds across a lifetime. The author's friendship with Mark Blackburn started all the way back in kindergarten. They shared that incredible whale encounter we just talked about, and they still catch up a few times a year, swapping stories about their IT careers and the ongoing absurdities of life. But zooming ahead 53 years later, Mark finally fulfilled a childhood dream by climbing the Pyramid of the Sun in Mexico. He waited over half a century to do it. It beautifully proves that dreams do not expire. They just wait. And when the right moment comes, they open up. And Mark's amazing adventure brings us directly to this concept of synchronicity. The famous psychologist Carl Jung called it meaningful coincidence. The author beautifully refers to it as destiny's handwriting. See, Mark posted about his pyramid adventure on Facebook. Someone named Mary Louise Picard saw that post and casually mentioned another childhood friend in the comments, Paul Cohen. Now, the author hadn't spoken to Paul in 46 years, but because of that one little Facebook comment, within days, they were talking for hours on the phone as if literally no time had passed at all.
Those rekindled memories of Paul Cohen reveal a seriously fascinating, eclectic background. His childhood home was literally a hidden jewel inside a normal Newport Beach neighborhood, complete with Japanese architecture, shoji doors, and a beautiful courtyard. His father was a doctor who actually smoked cigars while treating patients. I mean, what a wild thought today, right? His stepfather was from the Beek family, who famously run the Balboa Island Ferry, making them a living piece of local history. And incredibly, his second cousin was Baba Ram Das, the spiritual icon of the 60s and 70s who wrote Be Here Now. It's a rich historical tapestry all interwoven into one childhood friendship. But despite all that deep history, and the fact that both of these men grew up to travel to 35 countries each, driven by this intense global curiosity, the reconnection brought back the simplest, funniest memory. Like the time in 5th grade when Paul and the author's brother decided to swap shirts just to confuse their teachers, and it worked. They succeeded in making entire classrooms laugh. It's just a warm reminder of those simple, beautiful times. They're connected again now, which is an amazing testament to synchronicity and gratitude. Your ledger of mentors, mapping the influence. Okay, let's dive into this, because it's time to transform these deeply personal anecdotes we've been unpacking into a powerful tool for evaluating our very own lives. Look at these gifts from a lifelong ledger of mentors: creativity, kindness, courage, curiosity, cultural appreciation, humor, adventure, compassion, connection, and possibility. I mean, what a spectacular curriculum. And what's amazing is that these lessons weren't just taught from some standard-issued textbook. The guidance came from everywhere. It came from lively classrooms, sure, but also from the middle of the ocean, from high school kitchens, from ancient pyramids, from random Facebook posts, and from the quietest corners of childhood memory. Because this explainer, much like the source text, isn't just some exercise in nostalgia. It's a real, tangible exploration of influence. It explains why kindness became a compass, why adventure became a rhythm, and why culture opened a heart. Destiny uses people as signposts. The teachers who pushed you, the strangers who surprised you, the friends who stuck by you through it all, they were never accidents. They were intentional markers on your journey. They were all distinct, crucial entries in your personal ledger, showing you the way forward. Which brings us to our final, provocative question. Who is in your constellation? I want you to turn the mirror onto yourself today. Think about the hands that shaped your journey. Who are the stars, the guides, the whispers of destiny that led you exactly to where you are sitting right now? Take a little time today to map out the stars in your own life. Remember, you are never walking the path alone. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep learning, keep growing, and definitely keep looking out for those brilliant signposts along your way.